Today, Baba is telling us that in order to finish any problem in your mind, you have to increase your decision making power. Now, you see that Baba has given us two words in Hindi, Nirnay and Nivaran. So, when you make a decision, use your decision making power, then problems change into solutions. Yes, and this decision making power or Nirnay Shakti or the power to decide is a spiritual power that every soul has. But just like we lost all powers under the influence of body consciousness, we also lost this decision making power. And when we have yoga with Baba, when we churn on knowledge, when we look at Brahma Baba's life, when we draw inspiration from the life of Baba and Mama or the seniors, so we make an effort to understand how they solved the problems that came their way, or how they overcame the obstacles. Then through these methods, through churning of knowledge, through yoga power, through drawing inspiration from the lives of Baba and Mama, we will be able to develop decision making power. And when we make a decision, then all the waste thoughts about the problem, they finish, and our intellect starts working in a different direction. It's like turning your intellect towards solution. Otherwise, our intellect is attached to the problem. And then when the intellect is attached to the problem, then you're multiplying the problem, you're increasing the problem. But when you make a decision about what is to be done, or how do I have to see this situation, or how do I have to deal with this situation, then your intellect becomes solution oriented. And then you start thinking not about what is not in your control, but what is in your control, and how can you use that to relieve yourself of the problem. So this is what Baba is talking about. Now you see, let's say, there is this, but first we have to understand what is a problem. So, there are problems and there are situations. Yes, so when there are situations, you just have to face them or tolerate them. But when there are problems, you have to solve them. Yes, so do you understand the difference between a situation and a problem? So, a situation is not something that you have to make effort to change. Yes, situations are scenes which are predestined in the drama. And in situations, in scenes of the drama, you have to use your power to tolerate, power to face, and you have to, deal with the situation. So, for example, if there is a loss that has already happened, yes, and it's done, you can't do anything about it, then it's a situation. It's not a problem. Yes, so it's a situation, and you have to use your power to, tolerate, accommodate, and just come to a place of acceptance. And then there are problems, and every situation can also have one part which is a situation and another which is a problem. So problems are, found solutions about. And when how do you not find a solution to a problem? When instead of thinking about what to do or how to solve it, you start thinking about why did this happen, or it shouldn't have happened, or if I had done like this, then this wouldn't have happened. So if you go into those waste thoughts, then you're not making a decision about what to do. And when you stop all those waste thoughts and you ask yourself, what do I need to do in this situation? And use your decision making power. And Baba has given this power to every child. From knowledge, also, you know what to do. From when you have yoga, you also have the power to do it. And we have seen, Baba, Mama, Dadis, crossing all the obstacles. So we know how to deal with it. And once you make that decision and start taking small, big steps towards that decision, then that problem will be solved. Yes, for example, if there is a health issue, let's say something, let's take the example of something very physical. Suppose there's a health issue. Then instead of thinking, why did this happen to me? Or why is this always happening to me? So you have to think about, how do I solve this? And you see, there is so much of information in the world today about how to address a health issue, that as soon as you make a decision that this is my timetable and I'm going to deal with this health issue like this, then all the waste thoughts finish. And then as you start taking one step after the other, regarding your whatever is your schedule, regarding the diet you have to change, the exercise you have to do, or whatever action you have to take, then that problem gets solved. In the first day it will get solved 1%, then gradually 2, 3, and then you are moving towards a solution. So Baba says, most of the times when we are faced with a problem, we do not ask ourselves what to do in this situation. Yes, for example, let's talk about problems that do not have mundane solutions. Like physical health is a problem that the world is also solving for you. So there is information about it. But let's talk about problems that, only Baba gives solution to. For example, I realize that if I realize that, I have a karmic account with a certain soul, or that soul is not happy with me, or that soul is not favoring me, or that soul is not on the same page with me ever, and there are negative feelings between us, then instead of criticizing that soul all the time, or saying that this is her nature or that is his nature, and they have been doing this, or that is how they approach things, why don't you find a solution to how do you change this equation between you and them? And Baba says that will happen if you stop thinking about their sanskars and start giving them good wishes and good feelings. Start sending good vibrations to them. And when you start doing that, then slowly, gradually, the problem will be solved. And you see, Baba tells us that even if there are waste thoughts in the mind, don't put them into action. Yes? How many of you have tried this? That even if there are waste thoughts in the mind, don't put them into action. Let's say, there are lots of there is anger, or there is resentment, or you don't like somebody's actions, or you don't like a situation, then Baba says at least don't put it into action, and let that let that feeling change through yoga power internally. So let's say somebody did something and you didn't like it, and there is a surge of anger or irritation or complaint in you. Then what you do is, Baba says, don't express that complaint. Yes, at least don't express it. Don't start speaking ill words, or don't start reacting with your face, or don't start showing it in your action that I'm annoyed with you. Just allow that, talk to yourself and use the power of knowledge, use the power of yoga, and just deal with that issue. And then you will realize how much of your reaction was making it worse, and how much of when you are not reacting, then how much of good you are doing to that person or that situation. So the basic thing is, you want that one to listen to you. But if you are reacting and abusing and showing it in your actions, then instead of that soul being, having love for you and listening to you, they are going further apart. So when you stop these storms in your mind and you use words of sweetness and you invoke that love in your heart for the soul, and you behave, like a Brahmin should behave, then the chances of that soul understanding you or listening to you is going to be better. So Baba says that, bring out solutions, invoke your decision making power, that instead of instead of going into why, what, how, I have to find a solution excuse me, to the problem that I'm facing. And let's say it's something related to Pursharth. So if suppose somebody is not sleeping on time, yes, and you always get late in sleeping, it gets 10, it is past 11 by the time you sleep, and then you feel that either you find it difficult to wake up at Amrit Vela, or where even when you wake up you're drowsy. Okay, so let's say this is the problem that you're facing. Then instead of thinking about what are the factors that are making it impossible for you to sleep early, yes, just think about how you can make sure that you sleep early. Yes, start thinking about, see, you can do whatever you want to do. So arrive at a solution. Ask yourself, okay, all of these. So have you seen that when you are in practical life, in your day-to-day life, when you're faced with a challenge, then although there are 100 reasons why you can't overcome the challenge, you find one reason how you can do it. Yes, and we all do it in a body conscious world where solutions look difficult because limited gain, limited this success, failure is driving our decisions. So we do it. For example, even if you have spilt milk, and then half of it is spilled, since still you manage to collect the other half and you manage to save the other half from spilling. So you do whatever best you can in the world. Similarly, when it comes to spiritual dimension, yes, so the more you invoke the power of knowledge about how important or how urgent it is for you to follow Srimad. So the more you churn on knowledge, the more you understand the urgency of putting knowledge into practice. The more you understand the urgency of having yoga with Baba. So, and the more you do these things, you will be able to invoke decision making power. And instead of thinking about 100 reasons why you can't sleep early in the night, you will be able to come up with how to sleep early in the night. And when you do that, then that problem of not having good Amrit Vela or not being able to wake up at Amrit Vela will get solved. So Baba says we have the decision making power. And you see, the fact that we have crossed every obstacle in the last cycle, Baba says that this is nothing new. So you have made a decision and crossed every obstacle in the last cycle. So you just have to invoke enough power of silence, enough power of knowledge to remember what you did in the last cycle and then win over it. So there's many problems that right now you are facing. They will be solved when you make a decision. And just like every power needs Baba's remembrance and the power of knowledge, this decision making power also needs a lot of Baba's remembrance, yog bal, and power of knowledge. I'll tell you one incident. So there's this Mata, and her son is a drug addict, and that Mata is in Gyan. And the son, is in such bad habits that he steals everything from the house and takes it with him and sells it. So he's into drug addiction, and he just, whatever he finds in the house, he sells and has drugs. So that is the condition. And then this Mata was in this problem for so many years. Like, it was her husband died and she was all alone, and then every day the son would fight for money, or the son would sell something from the house. And then she asked the Nimit, the Didi, that what do I do in this situation? So the Didi told her that you just drive that son out of home. He's 34 years of age, he's not a kid. So you just make a decision of abandoning the son, and you will do more good than damage to the son by doing this. Because if he has no source of money, then he will either get over his habit or at least be on his own. So, he will learn how to fend for himself. So she didn't make that decision. And for many years, she still kept suffering. So, because when you take Shrimat but don't apply it, taking Shrimat, asking for a solution is very easy. And the solution will be given. And anyways, even if nobody gives a solution, you as a Brahmin know the solution. I have never seen a Brahmin who comes and who doesn't know the solution. I have always seen that Brahmins know the solution, just that they are not doing it. So because of that lack of decision making power. And then another 5 years she suffered a lot. And then she had very good yoga with Baba for 1 year. And then she mustered the courage, that decision making ability came. And then she just closed the door on the son. And 1 year that she didn't open the door on the son. And whatever happened, lots of things happened, because the neighbors are seeing that the son is coming, knocking, and the mother is not, opening the door, or everything happened. But she just stuck to her decision. That is decision making power, that you understand that I have to hold on to this anyway. And then when she did that, then after 1 year, so when she got the information from some people that the son had changed his ways and means, and because he did not have money, so the food became his priority rather than drugs. And then he started doing, whenever he had little money, he paid for food rather than drugs. And then this turn happened. So you see that Baba tells us that we have to have decision making power if we want to solve a problem. Otherwise, if we keep thinking about how I can't solve it or why I can't solve it, then the problem will never be solved. So there is no problem that can never be solved. So we are Brahmins, we are destined to change into angels and deities. There is no problem which we can't overcome, nor can't solve, but we are just not doing it because of the lack of decision making power. And the more you churn on knowledge, the more you have yoga with Baba, this decision making power is going to increase. So, this is one thing that Baba talks about. And then Baba is today telling us to detach our, or to finish our intellect's yoga with the people, the bodily relations that we have right now. Yes, so Baba says, just withdraw your intellect's yoga, withdraw your heart from all the bodily relations that are around you. So, you see, this connection of the heart or of the buddhi is a very important thing. I'll give you an example of this. So there is a Mata and her husband, her Yugal, he was telling me that, Didi, if I tell her to do something or not do something, both are in Gyan, okay? So they are Baba's children. So he was telling me that, Didi, if I tell her to do something which is good for her, she won't do it. Even if Baba tells her, she won't do it. But if her brother tells her, she will do it immediately. So he was telling that, Didi, if so, he was talking about some purchase that they had to make, and he said, I suggested a company, and then she said, this is not a good company, and we will not purchase from that company. And then she even saw that the center also has that same equipment from the same company, but she was not convinced. But when her brother said, buy this equipment from this company, she said, no, this is the best company and we will buy the equipment from there. So he was telling me, Didi, why is it so that she only listens to her brother? So I told her, because her heart is attached to the brother. And this is the link between the attachment of the heart and following directions. So, you follow the directions of those who you are attached to your heart with. So, this is why Baba says that, Baba is giving us Shrimat. Shrimat is the supreme directions, those directions which can make us, change us from a human to a deity. But if my heart is attached to any bodily being, then although I will listen to Murli every day and I talk to that person once a week, but I will follow what that person says, not what Baba says. This is the thing, about being attached to bodily relations. And Baba says this is why, although we are receiving Shrimat, we will only be able to follow Shrimat. So today Baba talks about do good and receive good. Yes, and only if you do good, you receive good. But what is good karma? Good karma is the karma that Shrimat is telling you. So only when you do actions according to Baba's Shrimat, think what Baba asks you to think, speak what Baba asks you to speak, do what Baba asks you to do, only then will you receive the right return. But do you know that we are not even able to appreciate what Baba says, or we are not even able to, understand or imbibe what Baba says. Even in the Murli, if you listen to the Murli also, you are not even able to remember all the points. Why? Because that attachment of heart is with bodily beings. And this attachment of the heart not only forbids us from following Baba's directions, but also from, listening to Baba as Baba says, or imbibing Baba's knowledge. And this is the biggest blockage in our becoming a deity. This is the biggest obstacle. So Baba says that now you have to remove your attachment from bodily beings. And Baba tells us that when we were in Satyug, then the bodily beings, the relationships that we had, the physical relationships, mother, father, teacher, whoever we had in Satyug, those relationships were relationships of happiness. Yes, they did not give us Ravan Mat. They gave us Srimat. They did not give us Srimat, but they did not give us Ravan Mat. They gave us Devi Mat. So they gave us divine directions. A mother wouldn't or a father wouldn't teach devilish dictates to the children when we are in Satyug. Yes, no parent would tell a child in the beginning of their journey that getting married is your aim in life. Yes, would a Satyugi deity say that? No, because that is Ravan Mat. So, have you seen that as soon as a child is born in Kali Yuga, you start thinking about who they will get married to, and this is the only aim in life in Kali Yuga. And ever since they are born, they keep listening to, you do this, then you will get a nice groom or a nice bride, or follow this ritual, or do this vrat or upwas, or so these are the things that we hear in Kali Yuga. But in Satyug, it won't be like that. This is just an example I'm giving, because there it is divine mat, but here it is devilish mat. And Baba says, those who give you divine directions, they are not going to spoil your fortune. But here, when you have bodily relations of a mother, father, brother, sister, friends, relatives, they are all giving you devilish directions. And you see, what are the directions that we receive from everybody? Prioritize lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. Yes, this is what we are learning. Ever since we are children, we are taught to be attached to family, attached to brothers, sisters, feel their pain, feel their happiness. So we are taught to do all of that. Yes, I remember when I was a kid and I used to go and visit some relatives, then while returning, everybody got very emotional, but I never felt those emotions. So I was very happy to go. I was very happy to return. And then, I was slammed a lot for that. And everybody in the family said that you shouldn't be like this, and you should feel very emotional when you leave people and go back home. So I said, should I pretend to do that? I can't do that naturally. So then they used to say that, this is not the way, and you should have attachment. You should feel like crying when you leave somebody, or you should feel excited when you see somebody. So these are the things that are taught to you. And Baba says that, this is so subtle that attachment, lust, ego, anger, greed, these are there, in the world, and these worldly relationships, they all are founded on these, five vices. And Baba says, when you have your hearts attached to these bodily relationships, then even if you listen to how you should be detached or loving, or you should be a trustee, or you should be a karm yogi, you will not be able to follow these. So this is why Baba says that first make an effort to withdraw your intellect's yoga from all the bodily relations. And how do you do that? By practicing soul consciousness. So when you practice enough to detach from the body, because all the bodily relations belong to the body. So do you know that whatever you can't practice right away in the world, how do you gather the power to do that in the world? How do you gather the power to imbibe a certain idea and then apply it in the world? By practicing it in your internal laboratory. So Baba has given us this understanding that whatever you do in yoga, whatever you practice in yoga, is going to create a sanskar within you. Just like you create a sanskar by doing something outside, you create a sanskar by practicing something internally. And the more you practice that I am a soul and my relationships are with Baba, and this is a body, and the bodily relationships belong to the body, and I'm not the body. So the more you separate the body and the soul in your yoga, and you come to a place of soul consciousness, you will build the power to detach your intellect from the bodily relations in the world. And then you will be able to see the difference between what other people are telling you and what Baba is telling you, and you will be able to do what Baba says. Yes, I remember there was this one Kumar, and you see, he was a Kumar with Baba for around 13 years. And so every day, Baba is saying that, choose purity, become pure. But he's talking to his family members, and they are saying that, get married, and who will look after you? And you have to have somebody to look after you in your in your, future life. So you should get married. Now, when he decided to get married, then he told me that my family members are every day telling me. So I told him, yes, your family members are telling you every day, but so is Baba telling you every day. But the thing is, why are you listening to your family members and not to Baba? Because you have all relationships with the bodily beings, not with Baba. So this is the thing that, you may listen, you may hear Baba's Murli every day. But there is a difference between hearing and listening. And do you know who you listen to? You listen to the one whom your heart is attached to. And this is why Baba says that you have to first make the effort to detach your buddhi yoga with bodily beings. Because, and that bodily being could be a guru, it could be a teacher, it could be, if you have heard things from the gurus, then even if you are listening to Srimad and to the knowledge of this cycle, it will not sit in your intellect. You will never appreciate that this is the time of end and I have to prepare for my return journey. Because this is the connection between the link of the heart and the imbibing of, directions. So Baba, that is why says, practice soul consciousness and understand that I am a soul and all the relations are that of the body. Because you see, when the soul leaves the body, then all the relationships finish. Yes. Have you seen that sometimes somebody leaves a body and then they have a memory that I belong to this family, and then they come back. But can those family members have the same love for you? They can't. Because it is all relationship of the body. You lost your body, those relationships are gone. So Baba says, don't think that that is you. That is just a very temporary aspect. And the more you churn on this, today Baba talks about how churning and imbibing are related. So you have to churn it in silence, you have to visualize it, practice it. You have to, practice so much in the laboratory of your mind that it becomes a sanskar in you. So this is what Baba is talking about. Okay, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today Baba spoke in the Murlis that those children who stay in remembrance with Baba's continuous connections, Maya can never defeat them. This line is very beautiful. And Earlier, I used to think that Maya is outside.
Hmm.
I never thought that Maya is a weakness of my mind.
Yes.
And now I understand little late, but by churning, as Baba said in the
Uh,
Vardhan,
uh,
by using Manan Shakti, it will come to back normal.
yes, yes. So the more you think
And
about it, you will be able to see it.
yes, Didi.
Okay.
And escaping is also creating many waste thoughts.
Yes, yes.
Now I think why I'm escaping.
Hmm.
And even if I have some weakness, then what are the ways I can adapt?
Yes, yes,
Which one thing will give kick to me? I'm listening to that.
yes, yes.
And this is till today, Murli, I am practicing this only. Didi.
Okay, okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti. हाँ जी दीपक भाई यस
On Sunday, sir.
Om Shanti.
Two things which we have said in today's class, which I have found extremely relevant, is
Yes,
the first is that like dealing with physical illnesses.
yes,
Basically, after becoming a follower of Brahma Kumaris,
yes,
I came across this concept of visualizing healing radiations from the Supreme Surgeon Baba,
yes.
radiating to the body and getting concentrated to the involved
Hmm.
organ and visualizing those radiations curing the organ of the disease process.
Hmm.
That I have been following quite a while, and yeah, that gives us the mental strength to deal with physical illness of
Correct.
myself as well as my loved ones.
Yes, correct.
And the second thing is that like if we want to do something, then we have the power. Rather than thinking about why I am unable to do,
Hmm.
we should try to find a way to do that things. Like so, this waking up at 4 a.m. for Amrita is the hardest thing which I have found. But now that since I can draw motivation and inspiration from what he has said and try to find a way to sleep early and try to wake up early so that
Correct.
I can follow the Amrita.
Correct. Correct. So yes, Baba says
Thank
you
you.
have decision making power, just use it. Thank you. Om Shanti.